Well, I want to welcome everyone out to another episode of Lim's Lemonade. I am so excited about my next guest. She's a dear friend of mine, and she's done amazing things, especially recently with the aspects of human trafficking and also exploitation. But she has created an amazing Facebook group called hashtag War Strong. It's 500 plus members of women who've have often gone through some traumatic experiences. She consults with the Human Traffic um, uh, Task Force of Utah. She is also a guest lecturer at Westminster College with both their graduate and undergraduate classes on as far as with those topics of human trafficking, exploitation, sexual trauma, all anything associated with that, and she deals with a lot of the studies associated with it they put on there as well. And so, um, Melissa Barrowman, so grateful to have you with me today.
Thank you, Michael, for having me.
Yeah. Hey, Melissa, this is a sensitive topic, and so maybe let people understand that the nature that it will be sensitive, but this is an interesting one for you to get so involved with, right? And you've helped so many people, and maybe brought to light some things here in Utah that we didn't always see, right? And so, tell me what got you here in the first place?
Um, Helping women.
Yeah.
Well, I I am. If you go on my page, you'll see that I'm very vulnerable, and I tell you all about my life. So I am a woman of much experience, um, which has led me to educating myself to even further that knowledge and further help my skills and my talents that I can help with the lessons that I've learned in my life personally. And came back to Utah 4 years ago and just saw a different Utah that I left over a decade ago. And as far as the topic is concerned, is it's a relatable topic of me. I'm a survivor of sexual trafficking, sexual abuse, trauma, all that. Um, and so I help other women who help report. I've helped the state um, help them with some cases that needed to be taken care of, and some trafficking rings that are going on in the state of Utah that are all different types of exploitation and trafficking. So I really felt like I needed to get on social media, which I don't like to get on, but felt really inspired to do so and put myself out there very vulnerably and to help these women. And so because of one, I have now over 500. So helped quite a few go help report. And of course, like you said, I've helped the state. I've consulted with the state human trafficking task force along with the DA office and as well as Salt Lake County victims advocate. The head department there in West Valley, West Jordan, and South Jordan police departments, and their sexual crime units. So it's been a big, heavy year. So I do it because there's so many women out there and men I'm discovering that have been sexually traumatized, victimized, exploited, exploiting, trafficked, you name it. And um, they don't know how to heal themselves. They don't know where to turn for help. They don't know how to talk about their help. There's lots of victim shaming. So I always, with anyone that I run into, there's always needs to be a soft cushion. I'm that soft cushion. And then I pass them along to more professional. So I do have a degree in marriage and family studies and another minor in child development. But I feel like this particular topic is so deep that you have to have a professional on it. So I'm the transition. I'm the start of help, but not the finish. I don't see it through. I just like to see it from a glance, and that makes me very happy. Help these women. I do.
I think a lot of people probably don't even realize, when we always think about some of these topics outside of the world, but not here, right? Third world countries, that sort of thing, right? And you kind of open my eyes to that. It's here, it's in our neighborhoods, right?
Oh, it's in your home.
Yeah.
We all self-exploitate, and that means is whenever we take a selfie of ourselves and we put it online, that's called self-exploitating. And we do that. Why do we do that? Why have we become visually autistic as a society with social media where everything's visual, visual, visual? And so, of course, that stimulates a part of the amygdala in your brain, and kind of your reasoning kind of goes out, fades away. So we all know from science that if you feed your amygdala too much, which is like your ooh happy part of your brain, then it becomes an addiction. So I get asked a lot, how can these women, they don't understand how these women or men can get hooked up in it. And it's very simple. Like, we all want validation. We all want to be loved, and we all want to be told we're pretty and valued, and that we're worth this, that, right? And I do believe that COVID is a good, huge factor on that catalyst in Utah, which kind of brought out a bunch of, everybody's online. So that just kind of stoked the fire, is what I like to say. It was already here, but COVID definitely made it even more prevalent to get on, make it more socially acceptable. Like I said, there's several, when you think about helping women, and what I'm seeing is a lot of people have left the church. Now, when I say the church, I'm not going to call any names here. The main religion in the state of Utah right now, there's a lot of people who've left it, and they've left it for a lot of the same reasons, and they're saying sexual oppression. I was not just abused. I could have handled the abuse and the cheating. It was just the sexual oppression, or what they made me do sexually, the sexual trauma. So you have the patriarch, and you hear that a lot. And so I try to correct that perspective. So it's really your perspective, and then help recognizing how we're all so very groomed when we don't know it. Facebook has, and Instagram and Twitter and all the outlets have really done a great job with propaganda grooming, is what I call it. So they do the advertisements. It's the best place to advertise, right? Everybody goes, what's your Instagram? So it seems like that's the main source of advertisement, is the social media. It's where everybody goes to talk. It's where everybody goes to, even family. Oh, well, we have this family account, and that's all is on there is our family. So
tell me, Melissa, how are people, how are people getting groomed? What are some of the steps you see for some, what are some warning signs of grooming?
Okay, so what people will look at line is, well, you become friends with friends with friends with friends with friends, okay? And what you don't realize is that first you need to just get out of your head that your family won't use you, because your family will, and they can, okay? Get out of your head that a woman won't hurt another woman or exploit another woman. That's false. So there is no age or social economic status of this at all. So you see this with rich people, and you see this with poor people and middle class. There's no bias to gender or ethnicity. You see it with all ethnicities and gender. So grooming would be, yeah, I'm taking a picture. We're all visually autistic. We want approval from that picture. We want to share our lives, and we want approval. And it's like that book, I Am Special, where the Womack goes and the stars and the dots, and we're so consumed about getting those stars, right? But we're getting dots because even on social media, people are like even dissing how you look. So then that even encourages your psyche to like, okay, what does that all create? And I've been asked by like the college, what mental illnesses have arose from sexual trauma, trafficking? How can there not be any mental problems associated with either prior or even after? And that's just because we all have this hierarchy of needs. And what makes us vulnerable is if we cannot fulfill that first step, then for women, we all know that our commodity at the end of the day is our body. We've been taught that for thousands of years, right? That, yeah, woman was only good to having babies and for joy. So, which is sad. So we've come a long way with trying to shift that. But I think with the movements, and we know that with the movements, that it has created this slippery slope. And we're seeing more and more. So grooming looks like lots of likes, okay, and then you get people who start to buy you things. And who doesn't want gifts, right? Who doesn't want the hair extensions, the nails, the eyelashes, the tanning? Everybody does. Everybody looks the same here, especially in Utah and outside of the state. How does it look the same way? Okay. And then they're promising these women who lost basically at a surge over 60%, okay, in Utah in the 2 years of COVID that happened. Divorce rate jumped over 60%. Now that is significantly huge. So now you have a huge bulk of women who stayed home for 14 plus years, right? Raising their kids. They have no job skill. They have education that is either outdated or can't be used or not innovated enough because this newer generation is very smart and they're making really good money and we're just oldie fogies. And so like, yeah, I know when I was nursing, when I did nursing back in 2008, I was making 15 bucks an hour. That was the most I could make as a nurse. So now as I did a travel nurse, I made more. But now that's like, what? That's not even minimum wage here in Utah. Like in other states it is, but it's not here in Utah. So how can the cost of living be so high and you have a man or a woman who has to try and fulfill that hierarchy you need? Now you add kids to that pressure, you add a spouse to that pressure, then the need for your finances go up, right? So, oh, I didn't know that I could make millions off my feet, right? Dipping them in whatever. And that's socially acceptable. Yeah, we've numbed ourselves, and so it's okay to be groomed. And what's sad is people are fine with that, but they don't see the downfall of that has to be paid back. So I normally say to these women, they're divorced, they've lost everything in the divorce. They're bitter about all their outlets that used to be their support system. So it's very simple, very easy for a madame or a pimp to come in and give you lots of love, take you under your wing, be kind of like your mother hen type person, and take you on trips. Be like, oh, no, it's on me. Like, oh, you deserve it, girl. Like, they know you can't afford it. And then when you've been hook, line, sink, and they know that, they've already placed you where they want to place you, whether that's going to be a high-end escort, low-end, it's going to be the massage end, or it's just going to be the sex end. They've already placed you depending upon, yeah, they've scoped you out during this grooming process, how they were able to groom you. If you ate that stuff up, yeah, you're going to be put on the low end, which means you're getting happy massages. They're promising you license. So then you go out and do that because you're working towards a license that is not promised, that is fake. And then you're so upbeat that you can't get out of it. It's too hard. It's too hard. And then you've programmed yourself to live a certain lifestyle that a lot of women don't want to leave. And that also is like women who openly start to exploit because they were with their husband making 6 figures. Now they're divorced and they make nothing. Well, they want to get back to what they were equating. That's not going to happen unless you, yeah, it's a tough world out there, and it's going to spit you up and shit out if you're not careful.
So if somebody's in this situation, how can they get help? How can they get out of that?
Well, me,
Mhm.
I tell everybody, I told Westminster College this, the best #1 way to help somebody is you.
Mhm.
So if we start changing how we think about the person, like let's say you're in line at the grocery store and you see a woman dressed in absolutely nothing, and it's cold out, or maybe it's not even cold out, and you're like, why in the heck is she wearing that, right? You're thinking, she doing that by choice? Maybe she is, maybe she's not. But I'd be guaranteeing that she has to dress that way. She's dressed up that way because she just came from a client or she's about to go to a client, or her pimp is making her dress that way. So, and I've heard that over and over and over again here in Utah. Like, and you'll see them and they'll get harsh judgment at the restaurant, they'll get harsh judgment at the gas station from anybody. They'll, the mom, like, don't let, and they really get biased, hardcore, really sad bias. And I just, so hard to be kind. So if you don't believe in Jesus or God or whatever your higher power, in your mind, you can't fight it. You naturally believe in something enough that that keeps you in check, right? That's being a dad, well, that's being whatever. So, okay, look at that person and look at them as if you would your son or your daughter or your best friend or your spouse. Look at them as your higher power would look at them. And that's just kind of what I encourage is like, first line of defense is us. We stop it. There's so many programs out there. Utah has done a really good job trying, but no one wants to go to these programs because, well, they're understaffed, too overloaded, and there are a lot of people, even counselors, that do not want to handle or deal with women or men in this particular type of situation. So it seems like there's not, there's SA, which is sexual anonymous, but do they belong in that? No, they don't. Now, did being exploited, being trafficked, being groomed make them have sexual addictions? Yeah. Was that their fault? No. Should they be demonized for that? No, they should not. So if I have to hold somebody's hand, I'll hold somebody's hand to help them get the help that they need. But the help it starts with everybody. Everybody is responsible. Everybody is stewardship over everybody. We are asked that, we're commanded to do so, and that's so I'm like, if you want to know why the community is hell in a high basket, hell in it, it's because people just don't care anymore, right? They look the other way. They don't want to see it. They acknowledge it's in their neighborhood. They acknowledge it's even in their house, and they don't want to acknowledge it because they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to help it. The state tries, and even the state is very behind in that help, like even getting mental health to those women who are coming out of trafficking, or it's hard to find true therapists that deal with that type of sexual trauma without, because now you see these fads of these gurus and the shamans and everybody's going that route, and that is not the route you should go. The route you should go first is professional, work your way down from there, but always have the professional there. But everybody needs to just start with you. It starts with everybody. Changing your perspective, your bias, all that. Right?
So if there was one bit of advice that you would share before we ended, what would that be?
What's the question?
So if there was one bit of advice you'd share before we end, what would it be?
In regards to what I do, I would have to say, service. Like, service is where it's at. Serve non-biased, serve unconditionally, serve without intent, like serve not knowing that you may not get a thank you back. Serve, serve, serve. So kindness, be kind. Like I said, don't judge that girl in line at the grocery store. Don't, it's stuff like that. You just have no idea what people are going through. And if you really understood, then you wouldn't be like, oh crap. So yeah, kindness, be kind. Look at people like you want to be looked at, right? And valued. And that's kind of how, like, well, I want to be valued. I want to be treated with kindness. So even though like me doing this is lost, I've lost friendships, I've lost family connections because of it, because they don't absolutely understand why I would want to dive into an area that is dangerous, that can be really dangerous. You're absolutely right, it can be. The organizations that are going on in Utah are dangerous. It reaches outside of the state. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is like, you've got 80, 25, and you got 70 running through our state. So why wouldn't our state be a perfect breeding ground of transporting men, women, and children, even to go work in the fields? Do we know that those people working in the fields in Utah, is their visas being held just so that they can, like that person gets free help from these immigrants? They were promised that they come here, get paid, and have a job, and then upon coming here, they get their visas taken away, and they have to work off even coming here, and that was a fallacy to begin with. So you have the several different types of exploiting and all that, and so I work mainly with the sexual, but yeah. Be kind, get involved. There you go. Say, where can I help?
So if there's somebody who would like to learn more, where can they go? What can they do?
Well, like I said, they are welcome to start with me. Exium is another great resource for the state. They are a nonprofit organization that helps with trafficking. So I would go to organize it, find people like me, find people that you can trust, and if you need further help, then they can help you. So that's, like I said, the first line of defense is us. So go to your family and say, and be really brave and vulnerable and be like, hey, I got myself in something bad and I don't know how to get myself out of it. They're threatening my family. Like, if you have those hard conversations, always having conversations with those that you love, and generally you can pick those things up and you can help. Like, get involved. Don't just turn a blind eye and be like, well, that's your problem, that's your bed, now lay in it. No, it's not. So, like, be there for your family so your family knows that they can come to you and confide in you. So again, the first line of defense is you. It's saying, hey, I want to help these women, and then proving that I want to help these women, right? Because I do. And it's helped me too in my journey. It's helped me with my healing. So you've helped me, Michael, with my healing, and which has helped me further help my women. So you can't help from an empty cup. So therefore you have to keep passing it along, and eventually we all have a cup full because we've all shared. So that's funny.
Wow, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure and I know it's a tough topic, but you've been very vulnerable, and thanks for sharing today.
Welcome.